Hey guys, welcome back to Intuitive Angling. Thanks for taking a little bit of time out of your New Year's Eve day to watch the video. Much appreciated. And what I wanted to do today, I sort of wanted to give you guys my opinion on sort of the state of the union, state of the sport, so to speak, in bass fishing. And like I said, this is my opinion. Like I said, everybody's got their own opinion of it. I'd love to hear everybody else's opinion, but I just sort of wanted to give a review over, the past year, what we've been through, sort of my take on a little bit, and thought it might be an interesting topic to sort of go back and forth with on the comments. First of all, just wanted to give everybody a huge thank you from the channel here, from myself and my family. Just really appreciate the support everybody's shown the past year. Channel's been growing good. Thank you very much for everybody out there that has supported the channel through becoming a member of the channel. Like I said, we definitely don't take it for granted. And like I said, it's just, I'm really enjoying doing this YouTube videos. The more and more I do it, it's just that I see such a creative interaction between you guys and what I'm doing here, and to be able to excuse me, take up some of the stuff that I've learned over the past 50 years in fishing and share it with you guys, and then get the feedback from you guys. They'll say, hey man, I tried this or that and caught some fish. That's very rewarding. So anyway, thank you very much for the support of the channel over the past year. Okay, let's get into this a little bit. And first of all, I want to address something here before I get into the fishing part of it, just sort of about our country in general. You guys know it as well as I do. I have never seen our country as divided as it is right now. It's sad to see. And I blame that on politicians. I blame that on politicians that are basically out there spreading misinformation, disinformation, trying to sow division within our country to basically gain power and profit for themselves. It's just very frustrating, and there's no reason for that. I came up until the past, 7 or 8 years ago. I never saw this before at all. I mean, within interactions of people that I had through fishing or whatever, it just never came up. And it's gotten to the point now where it's just almost out of hand. And it even extends over into fishing. I see a lot of it just in the comments that we have here on my channel, as far as the division amongst the subscribers out there. And there's no need for that whatsoever. There's no need for that, because guys, I can tell you something right now. I've been around quite a few people on their deathbed, and I can assure you that all of the squabbling that we do over political differences, cultural differences, our belief systems, the way that somebody that's on the left or the right disagrees, that doesn't mean anything. Everybody I've been around on a deathbed, that all melts away. And you know what's important to them? The only thing that matters to them is who they love, who has loved them, and the love that they've shared on this planet that's going to go with them and stay with them, throughout eternity. And that's what it boils down to. We have got to be kind to each other. We have got to love each other, and we've got to let all this stuff all these politicians that try to get people pissed off and angry at each other every day, we just got to stop that, because it doesn't mean anything in the long run. You're not going to be on your deathbed griping about the fact you didn't get a big enough tax break or this or that, the stuff that you read in the news. You're going to be on there remembering the people you loved and the people that loved you. So I just wanted to clarify that, because it's really gotten out of hand. I see it all the time. I have to kick people off my channel all the time for spouting that type of stuff that's basically political rhetoric that they've heard one way or the other. So if there's one thing that I can look back over the past year that I wish we could change and do better moving forward in 2022, it's that particular area of our differences that have been created by politicians to divide us. So hopefully we can get through that and get back to being kind and courteous and get along like we should be getting along. Because like I said, it doesn't make any difference we're all going to face it, man. Some of you guys may have 5 minutes left out there. Some of you guys may have 75 years, but eventually all of us are going to be in that position. And that's what's important, is just loving each other. Okay, so anyway, let's get into last year. We'll start out a little bit on the tournament realm first. A little bit of my opinion on the tournaments. The tournament situation, to me, it seems like it's sort of stabilized a little bit. We had 2 or 3 years excuse me, I was just trying to get over this hacking cough I got, cold. 3 or 4 years ago, we had a big mix-up within the tournament organizations where new organizations were being created. MLF broke off MLF started their whole deal. They, took a bunch of Bass Elite Series guys. Then the NPLF or NPFL circuit started up. Then you had FLW go down the tubes and was replaced by MLF putting a bunch of Toyota Series circuits. It got very confusing. And that sort of stabled out a little bit now. And this over the past year, that's one thing I've noticed. Everybody has sort of found their niche. The Elite Series has got their deal going. MLF's got their deal going. The AAA circuits, or whatever you want to call them, like the Bassmaster Opens, the Toyota Series, all those are doing good. They're doing really strong. Tournament fishing is alive and well. I mean, like I said, our economy is doing really good right now. Fishing tackle sales are through the roof. Boat and motor tackle sales are through the roof. More people are fishing than ever. That's a really good thing over the past year as far as participation. Although, you never want to get to the point where you love your sport to death, where there's like too many people in it. But for right now, one of the big things that I can look back on in review of the year is how the tournaments have sort of found their way a little bit, and everybody's sort of settled into their own deal there. And the other thing I've noticed about the tournaments is the increase in tournaments that you have. Not only do you got all the 3 tour level circuits, but you got the AAAs, and then you've got like the BFLs, and you've got a lot of the local circuits that are going really strong. But what has happened is there are so many tournament anglers out there now, guys, that one of the things that I've noticed over the past year is that tournament angling and tournament anglers themselves, as far as trying to build a brand for themselves, have gotten watered down tremendously. It's very difficult to make a living strictly as a professional bass angler anymore, simply because there's too much competition. The sponsorship pie has been cut up into so many pieces that it's very difficult to attain quality sponsorships, unlike it was 15 or 20 years ago. That's why people have branched out in other avenues. And that's another thing that we've seen over the course of the past year, is how social media has overtaken tournament fishing as a means to promote companies. And it's definitely happened. It's happening as I speak right now. Social media, whether it be YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, whatever, it has become more powerful as far as building a brand for a company, creating impressions for that company, generating product sales, drawing attention to products, than tournament fishing. Tournament fishing can't compare with that anymore, simply because you can't reach as many eyeballs as you can through social media. This is something that has continued every year over the past 5 or 6 years to get stronger and stronger every single year, and I only look for it to continue to get stronger like that. So it's sort of a metamorphosis in the whole professional bass fishing realm. Now, that's tournament fishing. Now, just general bass fishing, some of the things that's changed about it, looking back in the year. This past year, guys, from what I've seen, out of all the tournaments I fished across the country this year, and all the time I've spent on the water on my lessons and fishing, just on the water anytime I've been, I have never seen the fishing as tough as it has been this past year overall. Now, I'm not talking about a significant drop as far as the fish catching, but it's a noticeable drop. There's been a noticeable drop in the weights that it takes to win tournaments. Not only the weight it takes to win tournaments, but the the weight that it takes to get a check, that type of stuff. And just in general, fishing for fun. I've noticed that it's harder to get bit, and it's harder to get bit by quality fish, it seems like, particularly. And I think a lot of this is residual from the COVID uh, you know, kicking in for the second year now. We've simply had more fishing pressure on the lakes than we've ever had before. Not only do we have more fishing pressure on the lakes, but we got more people in the sport. I mean, the sport's growing, it's getting bigger, and as a result of that, I need to blow my nose, but I can't get away from the camera right now. As a result of that, it's fishing's got tougher, and I think it's going to continue to get tougher. I don't look for all of a sudden the fishing just to get better. And what that means is anglers are going to just have to they're going to have to continue to get smarter as anglers. They're going to have to learn the subtleties of fishing a little bit. They're going to have to figure out how to catch fish in more highly pressured areas. Nobody wants to do that, but that's just the reality of the situation. So that's one of the big things I've noticed. We've talked a lot about live scope on this channel also. I mean, you guys know my opinion on live scope. I think it's terrible. I think that forward-facing sonar is terrible for the sport. I think it takes away the magic. I think it takes away the mystery of the sport. I think it takes away the therapeutic healing properties of it. My stance on that is well documented, and that's my own opinion. But one of the things about that, which you'll have to deal with, is the advent of the forward-facing technology has taken a lot of pressure off the bank. So one of the things that I think you're going to see moving forward here is you're going to see the resurgence of shallow water power fishing, old school techniques take over a little bit. There's so many people right now fishing out off the bank, glued to their live scope, that the bank is getting pretty much left alone. Most everywhere I go fishing anymore, I'm one of the few people on the bank. These fish are smart. They haven't been on this planet for 3 million years being stupid. They are going to react to that. They're going to react to that increased pressure offshore that they never had before, and they're going to make adjustments to that. I see that adjustment moving back to more the bank-oriented fishing. I don't know how long that's going to take, but I see it. It's just like anything else. It's like with the Alabama rig, like with the Whopper Plopper, all these baits that come along that are really hot, and then they fade out. I look for the same thing to happen to some extent with live scope, even though there's always going to be a population of fish to be caught with that technique. But those are the big overviews that I take away from the season, this past season. Nevertheless, guys, it doesn't matter how many people are on the lake, or it doesn't matter how tough the fishing is. We're still going to do it because we love to get bit. I mean, if you go out there and catch 5 fish versus 50 fish, that still is enjoyable to catch those 5 fish, and we need it. We have got to have nature. We have got to have this avenue to get back into the wild places, into water, into woods, and that type of stuff. If we don't have that, we simply can't survive as a society. And not only that, physically survival, but emotionally. We need that connection to nature to survive as a human species. Why do you think that Central Park in the middle of New York is so popular? You've got this park in Central Park up there in the middle of the concrete jungle that people gravitate to because they need that. They gravitate towards nature. Nature has a healing effect on people. And that's one of the big things that I preach about in fishing all the time is you have to get past the obvious thing about just jacking jaws and swinging fish over the side of the boat. You've got to take time to smell the roses, man. You got to take time to appreciate being out in nature, and that's why I'm so adamant about environmental issues, because as our environment degrades through overpopulation, overdevelopment, pollution, legislation that undermines the quality of our air and water. Every time something happens like that, that takes away from that experience, which also takes away from us too, as human beings. There's no denying that. And imagine all you dudes out there that love to hunt, all you dudes out there that love to fish, imagine a world where you had nowhere to hunt, where you had no game. Imagine waters that you love to fish, that you got on there and they were polluted to the point where there's no fish in it. How'd that make you feel? And I can promise you, if we don't stand up for it, and if we don't stand up for these, entities and people and companies that are doing that to our air and water, that is going to manifest. I can assure you that. And that's why you'll hear me be an outspoken advocate of environmental issue, climate change issues. I'm unapologetic about it. If you don't like it, you can go find another channel, because I'm going to continue preaching that, because to me, preserving the quality of our wild places on this planet is the biggest thing that we can hand off to the next generation. You know, I don't want to hand this planet off to my 4-year-old son Elijah with polluted air and water and, you know, overdeveloped, you know, concrete jungle around it. I mean, he deserves more than that. So I'm really big into that. So anyway, guys, that's just a few thoughts. Again, these are my opinions. Everybody's got their own opinion out there, but I just wanted to share that with y'all. And again, much appreciated everybody watching the channel. I know that I've made some friends out there. I pissed some people off this past year, but I'm just sort of being myself on this channel, which I think that's what we all need to do. That, you know, as far as, I don't really care for a lot of these YouTube channels that guys are posturing about and trying to be something they're not. So sort of raw and unfiltered here a little bit. So anyway, guys, hope you guys have a great New Year's. Have you guys have a great 2022. Thanks again for watching the channel, and hope I see you guys all next year for next year's videos. So we'll talk to y'all later. See you.